Hello. Today we're going to make a miso glazed chicken breast that we're going to serve over jasmine rice. So for that, we're going to have 4 3-ounce chicken breasts. And if they're bigger than that, you're just going to need to cut them down a little bit. Or you can leave them as is. It's really up to you. But this recipe is designed for 12 ounces of meat total. So just keep that in mind. We're going to use half a cup of miso, a 1/4 cup of sugar, a 1/4 cup of chicken broth, and we're going to use about a tablespoon of grated ginger. And this is all going to be our marinade for the chicken. For our rice, we're going to use 2 cups of jasmine rice. We're going to cook that in an Instant Pot, so that's going to be easy breezy. 2 cups of rice to 2 cups of liquid. You can use water or chicken broth. I'm going to happen to use chicken broth this time because I want to enhance that flavor. And then to the rice, we're going to add once it's cooked, we're going to add a cup of shredded napa cabbage. Look at how cute this one is. It's so cute. It's so little. 1 cup of shredded napa cabbage, a 1/2 cup of shredded carrots, and about a 1/4 cup of red peppers. But if you want to add more, add more. It's really up to you. And we're going to season the rice with about a 1/4 cup of rice vinegar. We're going to put about a 1/4 cup of mirin, which is sweetened sake. And then for the whole thing, when we actually serve it, we're going to serve it with some soy sauce. So let's get started making our marinade. Okay, we're going to get our marinade going. In order to do this, we want to take our sugar. I'm going to put it in our container here. And our broth. Just move those off to the side. All right, so we've got our sugar and our broth going here. We're going to put 3 tablespoons of oil. You can use canola oil, you can use olive oil. I happen to have olive oil on hand, so that's what we're going to use. Make sure we get all of that out. All right, and I'm just going to use this just to mix this up a little bit. And then we're going to take our miso, and I need a 1/2 cup of miso. We'll move our chicken out of the way. All right, so we need a 1/2 cup of miso. I'm just going to measure that out so I don't shortchange myself. Miso paste, white miso. It's much more mild than the red miso. All right, so we're just going to put that in here. Move this off to the side. And we'll just kind of mix that all together. I could dirty a whisk, but since I already have my spatula dirty, all I'm doing is pressing the miso up against the side and combining it with the sugar, the oil, and the broth. This is going to be thick. There's no 2 ways about it. And we're going to let this marinate for about an hour. Now you can let it marinate overnight, but it's not necessary. All right, so we're going to put our breasts in. I cut the breasts in half. These were very big. So I'm going to get the rest of that off of there. And just flip it over. Do the same thing here. Put these two on top of each other. Move some of the marinade off to the side for the next two pieces. I'm just pressing that down, flipping it over, moving it to the side. And we're just going to cover this and put it into the fridge. Okay. You can do this in a Ziploc bag as well if you'd like to have it in a Ziploc bag, but that's what it's going to look like. And we're just going to let that sit in the fridge now for about an hour. Okay, so we're going to get our vegetables prepped, and as we do that, we're going to put them into our bowl. So first, I'm going to start off with my carrots. I'm going to take the ends off on either side. Those will go into making chicken stock at a later time. And we're going to shred these carrots. So I'm going to peel them. And again, you know, how much you put in there really is up to you. So I'm just going to get my carrots ready. I like to have a lot of vegetable in this. All of that peeled off, and all of the peelings are going to go into my stock. So I'm just going to move that off my board. And then we're going to I'm going to just shred it right into the bowl. I just take I happen to use a hand grater to do that. And it makes really quick work out of it. Just watch when it gets to the end. You don't grate yourself into that. And I tend to keep these ends for the dogs or as a snack when you're cooking. I like to snack on some of my vegetables. So it doesn't go to waste, but I also then don't have to wear a cut glove to make sure I don't cut myself. And I have plenty of safety in between me and the grating. As I said, I want to have a lot of carrot in mine and a lot of vegetables, so I'm going to put a little more than I told you before. And that's it. So we've got our carrots ready. We'll move this off to the side. We're going to add in our red pepper. So I'm just going to cut off one of the sides of the red pepper and clean out this piece. I'm going to cut it into nice thin slices. And you notice I could have cleaned up that end and removed this, but I don't want it to go to waste. And again, just put as much as you'd like. You don't have to just stick to 1/4 cup. You see how quickly I'm able to cut that up, just so everything's nice and even. And this is obviously more than 1/4 cup. But the idea is you want to flavor your rice the way you'd like it. Okay, last few bits. So we've got our carrots and our red pepper. It's going to be very colorful, and that's what you want. You want your food to be appetizing. And I'm going to use almost, if not all, of this napa cabbage. So you start with a cut that goes right down so you don't end up getting long slices. I'm going to hold it together as much as I can. Now I can actually, we'll do it this way. We'll cut it in half so you can see the inside. And then, because these are really small leaves, but still, I'm going to do this just so I don't end up with any long strands. I'm squeezing it together, and you want to cut this as fine as possible. Don't worry if it's any bigger. It's going to wilt when you put it in with the rice. The idea is that everything you put in here is going to be a fairly even size for that particular item. Right, so there you go. Shredded cabbage. Just add that to our bowl. I am going to use the whole thing because I'm making 2 full cups of rice. I like to have extra rice on hand at the end. So I'm going to just do the same thing with this one. Bring it all together. You see now that I'm getting to the bottom, I have to move my knife a little bit more. That's all right. And we'll just add all of this to our bowl. It's a great way to get veggies in you. Okay, so there we have it. Everything's in our bowl. Now I'm going to add some rice. And we're going to, some rice wine, some rice vinegar. Listen to me, rice wine. We're going to add some rice vinegar. We're going to toss that. I'm also going to add some mirin. So I'm going to actually do the mirin first. Again, this one's to taste. So that's probably about 4 tablespoons. This is a sweetened sake. So it's going to give a little bit of sweetness here. And now I'm going to add the rice vinegar. It's going to be a little bit more. Okay. So this will slightly pickle them. And they'll have a really wonderful flavor. So that was the rice vinegar. And we're just going to toss that and leave it at room temperature. And when you do this, when you toss this, if you're like, you know what, I want a little more red in there, cut up some more pepper. I want a little more orange in there, cut up some more carrots. Just make sure that with the way that you've added it, that you put in maybe just, depending on how much more you put in, put a little bit more vinegar if you need to, just so everything has a good pickling. All right, so this is ready. We're ready to go. Okay, we have turned our oven on to 375. I've lined my pan with some foil. You see my sheet pan's a little too big for the amount of chicken that I had. So what I've done is carefully, without making any holes, just made a little lip all the way around. So we're going to go ahead and add each piece of chicken. I'm going to use all of the marinade. It's not going to go to waste. I'm going to lay each one down. And we're going to cook this for about 20 minutes in the oven. And then I'm going to use all of the juices that come out of this, including the cooked marinade, as part of the topping for the chicken on the vegetables and the rice. Okay, these are going to shrink a little, so I'm not worried about that. Get a little more marinade on this one. Okay. So the one thing I forgot to do when I made the marinade initially was add the ginger. So as soon as I remembered that, I added the grated ginger in here. So don't think that that was missed. You could probably see any of the little pieces in there, all those lumps. That's my ginger. So we're going to put the rest of this marinade on top, and we're going to cook this for 20 minutes in the oven. In the meantime, we're going to get our rice ready. So let's go and do that. I'm using my Instant Pot to make the rice because I find that it's really easy to just set it and let it go. So in go my 2 cups of jasmine rice. I have made my own chicken stock, which is why you see some of the fat on top. We love that. In goes our chicken stock. Even amount, 2 and 2 for jasmine rice. I'm going to put just a teeny bit of salt because we're going to use soy afterwards. So I'm not putting a lot of salt in this at all. What you want to make sure is that none of the rice is on the sides, which it's not. I'm going to go ahead and put my lid on. We're going to cook this for 5 minutes on high pressure. I'm not going to use the keep warm function and press the start button. And remember, this has to come up to temperature. So it's 5 minutes, but it's going to take about 5 minutes to come up to temperature. So there's 10 minutes. Then we're going to let it naturally release for 10 minutes. So now we have 20 minutes, which incidentally is the same amount of time we need for our chicken to cook. So I'm starting this right before I put the chicken in the oven. Here we go. Okay, so we have our oven set to 375. We're going to go ahead and open this bad boy up. And we're going to put our chicken in for 20 minutes. So set a timer so that you can remember, but if you're doing the Instant Pot like I just did, you have a timer already going. So there we go. 20 minutes later, this is going to be ready. Our 20 minutes is up and our chicken is ready. Look at this. We got some nice caramelization too on the top there because I had it on convection. So all of this, including the sauce, the marinade that's here, all of that is going to be part of our dish. So let's get ready to finish off our rice and then plate this up. Okay, our Instant Pot is done. I'm going to finish releasing the pressure. It's been going on for 10 minutes naturally. I'll just set that so that it'll release. Once it's done releasing, once that pin drops, it's ready to open. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it. When I do this now, when I open it, there's going to be a lot of condensation. And when I put it in the holder here, I put a little towel underneath here to kind of catch some of that so I don't end up with a bunch of liquid. So there you go. So now I'll just let some of that fall on my towel there. And we're going to get our rice out so that we can bring it over. This is hot. We're going to bring this over and put it right here so that we can combine it with the vegetables. So that's our next step. All right, our rice is ready. I'm going to use my little paddle and I'm going to get my rice right onto my vegetables. And I'm going to put all of it. It's got a little bit of a, it's not like pure white like you might see when you get it from the restaurant. It's because I use chicken stock and not just plain old water. And I'm putting all of this rice in here. This little paddle is awesome. I'll let you get everything up with minimal effort. It helps that I have a little hot pad under here so it keeps it from moving. And now that we're ready to combine it, I'm just going to move this off to the side. I'm going to put the rice on the Death Star, as it were. And we're going to go ahead and slowly toss this. First, I'm going to use my rice paddle here just to move things around. But you can see you can put more or less vegetables depending on what you like, what you prefer. But I made a lot of rice today. I want to have some leftovers. So this is what works for my particular taste. Okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do want to make sure that you get, at the bottom of this, there's some liquid, maybe hard to see, and that's our vinegar. So I'm making sure that gets, incorporated throughout the rice. Doesn't that look lovely? Oh my goodness. Okay, so this is ready. I see a few more rice clumps, if you will, but this is ready for us to go ahead and plate up. So let's do that, shall we? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and plate this up. And I'm using a bowl. If you don't want to use a bowl, you can use a flat plate, but I like using a bowl for this, even when I make a little bit of a mess like that. I might want to change over to my rice paddle, but here we go. Look at how fun that rice looks. Looks happy, doesn't it? Looks like a lovely, happy bowl of rice. Okay, so I'm making a little bit of a bed there. Again, you can put more, you can put less, however much you want in a serving. We're just going to move this over. I'm going to eat this piece because that's the cook's prerogative, isn't it? I'm going to take one of my breasts, have it right here, and I'm going to cut this so that I can just place it on top and make it easy for those who are eating out of the bowl not to have to try and cut things in the bowl. So just use our knife as a little spatula, if you will. I'll get that last piece, don't you worry, it's not going to escape. That's what tongs are for. And then at this stage, you want to taste the whole thing. Just see what you like about it. Maybe you want to add some more of the sauce that came with it, but it gets served with soy sauce to give you a little bit of that saltiness. So we're just going to put that on the side. Not a lot, not going to need a lot, so that whoever you're serving this to can go ahead and put their fork in, have a little bit, maybe just pour this in however they want to do it so they can adjust the seasoning to their liking. So I hope you try this. This is really delicious. This is miso glazed chicken breast over a vegetable, quote unquote, sushi rice. I hope you enjoy this. Have a great day.